Welcome to a new way. He has put you on a new journey. Hold close to him and follow what he says. Sent the final prophet Muhammad to mankind a mercy.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulallah. I want to welcome everybody to our Aqidah class. And this is our class, Know Your Lord. Know Your Lord. And this is based on the book written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. For those of you who have not yet purchased it, please go to Amazon. The book is on sale for $14. Please buy this book. It should be a part of everyone's library. This is the first of the Correct Belief series. All three of these books, we already completed Wala wal Bara. These three books will help you to develop what the correct belief system is. Unfortunately, we are living in the days of fitan. The days which our prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of, the days in which Islam will become strange, the sunnah will become forgotten, the sunnah will become abandoned, the days in which the Muslims will follow in the footsteps of the Christians and Jews to the point that we imitate them in everything that they do. We will use science. We will use technology. We will use society's issues, society's problems as a means of trying to change the laws of Allah. And I want every Muslim listening to me to beware of something. The Shariah, the laws of Allah are for all time. No one has the authority to change the laws of Allah. Everybody understand that? Traditional Islam is what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. Traditional Islam, as the Prophet Muhammad said, anyone who's upon a way other than that, you're not upon the correct way. You cannot sit around. I keep telling y'all, the so-called scholars, no one has the authority to say we're going to divide the laws of Allah into different categories. No one on this planet, no human being has the authority. I don't care how high you think you are in your PhDs, in your knowledge. I don't care if the people worship you, if the people call you Mufti Sheikh. No human being has the authority to look at the laws of Allah and say we're going to divide them into categories. The essentials that we have to abide by and non-essentials that we can change. This is what's happening today. This is what the prophet said would happen. He already said that the later generations will do this. We talking about the war against Islam. Didn't I tell y'all Allah's in control? Allah says, if you live, the prophet said, if you live to see the days in which the Muslims will make lawful the things that Allah made haram. If you live to see the days in which the Muslims will indulge, will make alcohol, drugs, sex out of wedlock lawful, same-sex relationships lawful, murder amongst each other, killing each other, oppressing each other. If you live to see them doing this, if you live to see them changing the laws of Allah, issuing fatwa, issuing Islamic verdicts that go against what Allah said. Know that there will be repercussions. Know that Allah will send war. Like I told y'all, this war is not because of Israel. It's ain't got a darn thing to do with Israel or Zionism. This is the repercussions of us Muslims sitting back, making men and women scholars and muftis when they're not qualified to even be such. And then we're sitting back, allowing them to change the laws of Allah, make things lawful that Allah said can never be lawful. Saying that Allah's laws can be divided up. We can change family laws. Where does Allah say that? Where does Allah say that his laws of divorce can be changed? That the so-called scholars of the decade can overrule him when it comes to divorce, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to gender issues? Where does Allah say that because of the problems in society, we can look at Allah's laws and try to change them to suit the society? Allah's laws are supposed to prevent society from becoming the way it is. We don't sit there and change Allah's laws. We don't say, okay, it's okay to support LGBTQ. We don't say it's okay to support gender role reversal, feminism, chauvinism. The Prophet Muhammad said anyone who ascribes to any type of ism is not one of us. You're not a Muslim. You're not upon what the Prophet Muhammad was upon. Who said that we can look at the laws of Allah and say that it's okay for free mixing? And like I told you guys, I don't want to hear this ignorance about how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't have a barrier between the women and men when they prayed. That's a lie. That's a lie. They can only say that stuff to you guys who don't know the hadiths. The barrier, as Aisha radiallahu anha said, between the women and the men were the young boys. The women and men did not pray together in the mosque. The women and men were not free mixing like that. What's the source, Sahih Bukhari? Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said the Prophet would put the men in the front, and then the women in the back, and between them, that's the wall, that's the barrier. The barrier between them were the young boys. Y'all got to realize these brothers who call themselves scholars, I keep telling y'all, they're nothing. They're not scholars. They're crazy. I keep telling y'all ain't no scholars in America. How many times I got to tell y'all that? Ain't no scholars in America. Most of the people in America are renegades, kicked out their countries because the countries they come from recognize what losers they were. I keep telling y'all they can only run that game on those who are ignorant. This free mixing, that's not a part of Islam. Oh no! Women have rights. Men have rights. We also have roles. And also Allah protects the two sexes so we don't end up doing what the Kafirs are doing. Well, what the Muslims are doing now. Y'all should see what's going on in these masajids now. Since they got the free mixing, they allowing the women and men to pray together. They allowing the women to be on the executive boards, part of decision making. Islam, there's nothing in Islam that says a woman cannot be educated. One of the most educated women of all times was Aisha, radiallahu anha. Hafsa was one of the few women of her day who knew how to read and write. Aisha didn't know how to read and write, but Aisha had a photographic memory. She was the student of the Prophet Muhammad, as was his stepdaughter, Zainab. Women are educated. Allah says in the Quran, be distinct, be better, stand out over the non-believers. So we're educated, but we know our role. We know our role as women. That's the difference. No one is saying that a woman can't go to school and get an education. We can do that, but learn your role. What do you do with that education? It's not to go out and work. That's the job of the man. I'm going to take that education I got and apply it with my children, because the prophet said everyone is a guardian and everyone is responsible for their wards. As a Muslim woman, learn your place. Your place is your children. You're going to be held accountable for your children. You take that education that you got and educate your children with it. Marry the right type of man. Marry a man who can provide and maintain like he's supposed to do. If you got the right type of husband, there's no need for you to work. Your priority is your home, but nobody is saying that you can't be educated. I am educated. All the prophets' wives were educated, but they knew their place. They didn't go out in the work field. Khadijah, may Allah be pleased with her, was a businesswoman, wealthy. She didn't travel. She didn't go out and work as no businessman. She hired men to work for her. Y'all understand that? The prophets' wives, they would work from home. Let's get the real deal. They worked from home. Sauda, may Allah be pleased with her. She used to make baskets and make toys and wedding presents for the people. And she would give them to her servant to go out and sell at the marketplace. Zainab, may Allah be pleased with her. She used to work with leather and make all type of clothing and stuff. And she'd give it to her servants to go out and sell for her in the marketplace. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, was a nurse and worked on the battlefield. When there was a battle, whenever they fought, she'd go out as a nurse and give water to the wounded and carry them back with the other team of nurses to the hospital that was attached to the mosque. They did everything from home. They weren't out like you sisters today. You going to school, getting degrees and engineering and all of that. That's all fine and good. And then you out there working like a man. You've reversed the role, gender roles. No one is saying that a Muslim woman cannot be educated. We're supposed to be educated because we're supposed to be distinct. But unlike the Kafirs, we don't educate ourselves just because we want to be men. We educate ourselves for our children so we can teach them about life, about Allah, about what their purpose is. You guys understand? Don't get it twisted. But we got these brothers today changing the laws of Allah. They say you can change the laws concerning family and gender. Oh, yeah, they got it. They are saying that women can go to college, even live in the dorms, and women can go out in the workforce. Women need to work. Women need to be engineers. Women need. What about the children? While the women and men are working, who's taking care of the kids? You can't send them to the mosque. Because guess what's going on in a lot of the masajids? What's going on in a lot of masajids is molestation. Oh, yeah. What did the prophet say? My nation will imitate and follow the Kafirs into a hole. Just like the Christians molest their kids in their little schools, that's happening here with us too. We can't even send our kids to Muslim school. They're getting bullied. They're getting teased because of their race, and some of them are being sexually molested. So while you brothers are putting out fatwas, changing the laws of Allah, saying that you have that authority when you don't. And let me correct something else. I hear this garbage about what Umar, may Allah be pleased him, did. Umar was the caliphate over the Muslims. Umar will be the third person to enter paradise after the Prophet Muhammad. Umar was the one who the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if there had been a prophet after me, it would have been him. How dare you men of today, you peasants, call yourselves scholars and try to compare yourself with what Umar did. Shame on you. If Umar were living today, he'd take the head of all of you. If Umar were living today and seen what you brothers, how you brothers have sold Islam for the price of fame, how you sold Islam for the price of being on the Kafir president's task force. If Umar were living to see that, he wouldn't even consider none of you Muslims. And then to lie on him, to think that you can be like him. He has that authority. Umar stopped the women from coming to the mosque because he could. When he saw how as Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, this is Sahih Bukhari. When the women came to her complaining, they said, look what Umar has done. He won't allow, how can he overrule what Allah and the Prophet said? Aisha said, if my husband, the Prophet, were living today, and if he saw how you women behave in the mosque, and if he saw what was going on, he would have forbidden you from coming to. Don't none of you men on this planet compare yourself to Umar or any of those companions. You are not him. You are not Abu Bakr. You don't have no authority to change Allah's laws, to divide them into categories of essentials and non-essentials so you can be on the president's task force of America. You brothers are shameful. And so many of us used to respect you. I was one. I respected many of you, thought you were people of knowledge, and I come to see that you are no different than the Christians and Jews. It was always about fame, fame, fame. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the first group of people that will be dragged by their faces and thrown in the fires of hell are those men who call themselves scholars, because you men are disgraceful. You can take your PhDs, you can take your universities and cling to them, because you'll be sitting up in that hellfire with your PhDs. Hikmah, I want the converse to understand there's no such thing as going to school to be a scholar. I tell y'all that because Allah says in the Quran, knowledge and understanding comes from Him, and He only gives it to a select few. The true scholars didn't even use that title. Did y'all know that? The companions, if you refer to the companions as being a scholar, they bust you in your head, because they knew the implementations that what comes with it. If you would go to the companions to ask them a question about Islam, they'd get angry. They'd say, why did you ask me? Why didn't you ask Umar? Why didn't you ask Abu Bakr? They're better than me. These brothers want to jump up, answer questions about Islam to show off for the fame. And now they've gotten so famous and rich with their fat stomachs. Look at them. Look at you, brothers. I want you brothers who have now come up with this fatwa about how y'all can take the Sharia, the laws of Allah, and divide them into essentials and non-essentials, and you're comparing yourself to Umar. Astaghfirullah. I want you brothers to go stand and look in the mirror at yourself. Look at you today. And then I want you brothers to look at the pictures of you from back in the 90s. You brothers, you graduated from the University of Medina. You graduated from El Azhar. You came to America in the 80s and the 90s. Look at how you looked in those pictures. You see the light that was on your face? You first came to America. You were calling people to the Sunnah after Sheikh Atlee. Oh yeah, I'm going to give the old man. I'm giving the old man his due. He was first, not you. Sheikh Atlee was here after Malcolm X. Hello, old man first. You came after him. You are the brothers with your degrees. By the way, Sheikh Atlee ain't got no degree. He's just like Sheikh Uthaymeen. Just like Sheikh Uthaymeen, just like Sheikh bin Baz, just like Sheikh Albani. May Allah be pleased with all of them and forgive them of their sins. I mean, none of them had these online certificates in Islam. Sheikh Atlee ain't got one either, because like I told y'all, true knowledge and understanding of the deen comes from Allah, not from a certificate. By the way, I don't have a degree in Islam either, but try me. Try me, Bo. I got degrees in technology. I got degrees that I can use for here. I got a degree in communications. That's why I can sit here on this internet since 1986 and convey Allah's message. Okay? I got degrees in history, so I can tell you the truth about, did Arabic women wear burqas? Okay? But as far as a degree in religion, that's ludicrous. That comes from Allah. You ain't got to go to school for that. The best scholars, they didn't go to school for that. They sat with the people of knowledge, the true people of knowledge, like Sheikh Atlee did, like Sheikh bin Baz did, like Sheikh Uthaymeen did, like Albani did. Okay? So don't sit around flaunting your PhDs, because your PhDs show me that you ain't got nothing. You had to go pay for knowledge. Allah didn't give it to you. You paid for it. Okay? So don't flaunt your degrees to Layla. I'm the wrong one. Because I'm going to say, why didn't you get a degree in technology? So you can take care of your family. So you wouldn't have to be worried about getting subscribers off of YouTube, getting hits off of YouTube. You get a real job. All right? Some of you do have degrees in technology. Some of you are doctors. That's a good thing. Some of you are scientists. That's a good thing. Some of you don't have no problem. You take care of your families. You don't depend on YouTube. But then you fall in the category of, did all those degrees mess you up mentally? All that theology, all that psychology, philosophy, logic, deductive logic, and symbolic logic. Oh, I took those classes. Did they mess you up? did Shaitan get to you? Remember, Shaitan, he doesn't waste his time with the average layman. No, the Shaitan, he tries to take down the true people of knowledge. So for you brothers, did you allow Shaitan to succeed in taking you down? Because you came to America, you were originally upon Sirat al-Mustaqim. You called the people to Islam in its truthfulness with the understanding of the companions. You weren't preaching the four mathabs. You were preaching what Allah said, what the Prophet said, and the understanding of those companions. Look at the pictures of you when you came here in the 80s and 90s. You had a light about you, brothers. You aren't young, you're old. A lot of y'all the same age I am. I'm 63. You brothers I'm talking to are in the same age category as me. Your 60s, some of you are 70s. Some of you might even be in the late 50s. Look at you now with your big fat pot belly, your stomachs. We look at you on videos. Your stomachs are sticking out. You look just like some Kafir man who done lived high off the hog. By the way, those big stomachs are a sign that you got kidney issues. You better go get checked out, bros. Your stomach's hanging over. Like the prophet said, fatness. Fatness will spread amongst them. You're bald. Oh, yeah. Some of you used to be such good looking men when you were calling the people to Islam in its truthfulness with the understanding of the companions. Your beards were shiny. Your beards were long. Your skin was radiant. Your hair was just like the prophets, nicely groomed. And look at you now. You got bald spots here, bald spots there, bald spots everywhere. Some of you have to shave your heads. What did the prophet say about that? This later generation, fatness will appear amongst them as they're changing the laws of Allah. Many of them will shave their heads. Was a prophet talking about you, bros? With your science degrees from these Kafir universities who are now on the task force of the American president. By the way, Turkey Day is next month. How many of y'all are going to be sitting in the White House this year? Everybody listening to me, check it out. You'll see them posting up on their Facebook pages, shaking hands with Kamala. Oh, yeah, they got a fatwa. Let's talk about that fatwa. Not only can the women and men pray together without a barrier, and like I said, the prophet's barrier were the young boys. You look at these massages, they don't have the barrier. They just got them butt to butt. Not only do they have those fatwas, but also you can shake hands. That's another one of Allah's laws. They say that falls in the non-essential category. You know, society is different. Society dictates that, you know, if you don't shake hands, you might not get hired. It's just the custom of American custom. So it's okay. We're going to say that law of Allah, that Sharia law can be, looked at, can be doctored up and changed. So under certain circumstances, we're going to allow men to be able to shake hands with women if it's a woman of authority, a woman of empowerment. Oh, that's their fatwa. Y'all think I'm lying? Go look it up. These are the non-essential laws that can be changed. Well, let's see how many of them y'all gonna see next month on Turkey Day, shaking hands in the White House like they did last year and every other year with Obama, that they put in office and checked the mark for LGBTQ and stuff, okay, by doing it. Let's see how many of these famous brothers y'all will see smiling in the camera. shaking hands with Kamala, with their arms hugging the women, their wives and other women with them, half dressed. Oh yeah, they bend the laws on that too. A woman doesn't have to be so abaya down. She can wear tighter fitting garments, put a belt on to blend in. Or she can put on some straight leg pants, blue jeans, or whatever the latest trend is to blend in. Let's see how many of them will be putting up those pictures like they do every year, because you can see how they sold the religion, sold the Quran for a miserable price. The miserable price is fame. Well, I'm here to let all of my students know no one can change the laws of Allah. Allah's laws cannot be doctored up. They cannot be sugar-coated because of society, because of the time. Allah's laws are for eternity here on this earth, in this world. Y'all understand that? And these brothers are not scholars. And even if they were, they don't have that authority. And anyone living on this planet today who is changing any of Allah's laws and rules and trying to compare himself with Umar or any of those first four caliphs is an idiot. Umar could do what he did because he was Umar. Abu Bakr, Uthman, Ali, they could do what they did because they were who they were. And how dare you think that you can stand and was beside them? They wouldn't have you. They'd have your neck. Be careful. The world is getting worse. Like I told y'all, this war, it's here. The war is not from the Israel. This war is from Allah. The prophet said it will start, and it started during the George Bush regime. It ain't started in October 7th. This started in George Bush regime. And it didn't start in Gaza. It started, like the prophet said, in the East. And all those countries in the East, Iraq, which it started. Remember Saddam Hussein? How we forget? The war in Kuwait, oh, y'all forgot that. Bosnia, oh, the genocide of Bosnia, y'all forgot that. My sister-in-law's Bosnia. Her family came here during that. This didn't just begin. It began like when the prophet said it would, with all those countries in the East. It's just worked its way to Gaza. Now it's past Gaza. It's in, what's that country? It's in Bangladesh now. It's going to eventually work its way right here to America. And I'm going to tell y'all, it's going to get here faster than we think. Because since we got this team of brothers who call themselves qualified scholars when they're not qualified anything, but they call themselves qualified scholars, and they believe, and they are doing it, they're stripping and changing Islam. They're changing the laws, changing the rules, changing the guidelines of Allah. Since they're doing that and nobody else is trying to stop them, nobody is speaking out against it, it's going to get to America probably after the election. Y'all watch and see. We're going to start seeing some crazy stuff here because Allah don't like ugly. Allah don't like ugly. And again, whatever evil befalls us as a nation, like Allah says, we brought it on ourselves. Allah says, I'll destroy you all, punish you all together. But I promise I'll raise you up and judge you individually.